x003 Emerald Street in Keene. So Bradford was right about one thing. This isn't pot that we're talking about. It's not synthetic pot. If you've looked over the 7-page ordinance, you can see there's all kinds of chemical combinations on there. The active ingredient that gets you high in marijuana is tetrahydrocannabinol, and many of the things listed in this ordinance don't have anything to do with that, so I think it's important not to confuse the issues. As was mentioned previously by the city attorney, it was suggested that this could very well be illegal, the passing of this ordinance, in that the city council doesn't have the ability to prohibit things. It's not granted to them by the state government. So there's that to consider, but that aside, it's also immoral for you to do this to your neighbors. Drug abuse is a personal tragedy, and there's no doubt that people have been harmed by drugs like this. However, history shows, and all one has to do is take even a cursory glance at history, that prohibition doesn't work. And it didn't work with alcohol almost 100 years ago. It's not working now with marijuana. It's not working with all the other drugs that have been made illegal, and it's not going to work this time. So if you go through with this and you end up passing it and it gets put into ordinance and begins being enforced, well, then you should ask yourself, upon whom will it be enforced? I realize he said that the attorney said that the intention was to enforce it on the distribution networks, but this ordinance bans it from possession. It bans it from all kinds of different people who would have this. Odds are good that the Keene police are going to be arresting most people, probably of a poorer persuasion. The people that are going to be caught for this, like most drug crimes, will be people who can least afford to pay the $500 fine that you guys have in this ordinance here. So ultimately that $500 fine will only impoverish drug addicts even further than they're currently impoverished, and of course that will only lead to more stealing. You've probably heard about the recent break-ins in various cars across Keene. Odds are good you've got drug addicts who are doing that. It's probably not teenagers doing it for fun. It's probably either teenagers for fun or drug addicts, and it's most likely drug addicts, and that's because they can't afford to buy the drugs because the drugs are illegal, and so therefore they're distributed by criminal networks who raise the price by thousands of percents. So if you make this product illegal, it's not going to go away, just like all drugs and alcohol have never gone away. They just go into the hands of the criminal element rather than business owners. So it's not going to solve your problem. In fact, it's only going to make problems worse for the people who do have addictions to these products. So keep that in mind, that this is not compassion. Not at all. No compassion in this. If you want to treat your neighbors with compassion, offer them help. Give them information. Educate them on what the truth is about these drugs. And further, I like what David said earlier, also consider decriminalizing and legalizing, or at least asking. There is something in the other committee about having a city council ask Concord to legalize or decriminalize marijuana, because it's certainly true that if people could go to the store and buy some cannabis, then there likely would not be as many people smoking this questionable stuff. So I hope you all keep it in mind that freedom works and prohibition fails every time. Thank you.
Thank you.